Hello, my name is Jason Berg. I'm the principal of Farmington High School. And over the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to share with you registration information for the class of 2021. At the end of this video, if you have any questions, you have multiple people that you can connect with. You can connect with your middle school counselor, you can connect with your high school counselor, you can connect with a middle school administrator, you can connect with a high school administrator, or sometimes the best information you get are from your current students' teachers. They can give you some of the best information on what classes your student may be ready for registering next year. So that being said, let's get into the nuts and bolts of registering for Farmington High School. The counseling department at Farmington High School is organized a bit differently than at the middle schools. We are not organized by grade level, but organized by last name. This allows our counselors to work with students all 4 years of their high school career, giving them an opportunity to learn students' passions and interests, and also providing them support as they select classes that support that student's post-secondary plan. These meetings may be individual, or our counselors meet with small groups frequently throughout the year. The counselors are the go-to people for credit checks and for class information, and can be the point person to help students as they register. So if you have questions following this video, feel free to contact the counselor that corresponds with your student's last name to get more information about some of our high school classes. We provide each student with two very important pieces to help support their registration. The first is our online registration guide. This guide can be found at www.fhsguide.org. There is also a button on your student's iPad that will take you to this site, and if you visit the Farmington High School homepage, about a third of the way down the page is a link that will take you to this site as well. This site has all the information for all the classes that students have the options to take, and most importantly, it describes each class. We want to remind students and parents that as you are selecting classes, to be sure to read the course description. It is vital that not only the students but the parents know what the class will entail and what will be expected for that. The second piece of material that students get is a registration worksheet. They received that last Friday when the Farmington High School counselors and myself visited the middle schools. This registration worksheet has all the courses available to ninth graders listed by course number. Students need to select 15 courses on that sheet and put an X by it. Those 15 classes are going to be the classes that they enter into campus. Students also need to select 6 additional alternate courses. These are courses that students may be placed into if for some reason 1 or 2 of their 15 other classes do not work into the schedule. We cannot give kids these alternate classes if we do not get the registration worksheets back. So it is important that once your student has registered on campus that you sign that registration worksheet and it goes back to their middle school teacher. Our schedule at Farmington High School is a little bit different than middle schools. We're not on semesters, but we're on trimesters, which means every 12 weeks we begin a new term, which means we begin new classes. We are not on a 4-period block day with skinnies, we're on a 5-period day. And so students will move between those 5 classes throughout the trimester. Students can take 15 classes during the year, 5 each trimester. Okay, the only exception is if a student takes 0 hour. And the only 0-hour classes open to ninth graders are jazz band. So if a student is going to sign up for jazz band, they're actually going to register for 18 classes, 15 during the regular day, and then 3 during the 0-hour period. Now remember, if you are going to sign up for jazz band, we do not provide transportation, and your parents will have to transport you to school, and that begins at 7:15 every morning. At Farmington High School, what is thought of as a year-long course is actually 2 trimesters. And the key to make sure that you get registered for those correctly is if a class has an A, you must also sign up for the corresponding B class. So ninth graders are going to take, most ninth graders might take Civics A. You must also take Civics B. Okay? A class that goes 3 trimesters would have an A, B, and a C. So anything that has letters in it, you must sign up for all of those, A and B, or A, B, and C as you go through that. So at Farmington High School, most classes are either 1 trimester or 2 trimester. The exceptions are our advanced placement courses, which students have the opportunity to take beginning in 10th grade, Our music courses, band and choir, those are 3 trimesters, and when you register for those, there'll be an A, B, and C with those. Our school day, our regular school day begins at 8:20, is done at 3:05. And as I said before, we do have some 0-hour classes, jazz band, which 9th graders can take, health, which 10th and 11th graders can take, and then pre-calc and trig, which are some math classes, which again, 10th, 11th graders can take. Here's what a typical 9th grade schedule looks like. Now you'll notice there's more than 5 slots in the day, and that's because all of our students take academic support, which we'll register for them, which is a little bit like Tiger Connection and a homeroom. And all of our students also take RAMP. RAMP is a post-secondary preparedness program which really allows students to investigate their interests and passions and begin to create a plan for what they want to do when they leave Farmington High School. You will receive more information about academic support and RAMP in our back-to-school meeting next fall. This slide is a quick outline of the requirements for graduation at Farmington High School. Students need to take 8 English credits, which basically means they need to take an English class each year that they're in Farmington High School. Students need to take 6 math credits, and those need to be through Algebra 2, so every student needs to take and pass Algebra 2 to graduate. 6 science credits, which include 9th grade physics, biology, some chemistry, and earth science. 8 social studies, which means they need to take a social studies class each year. 1 health class, typically taken in 10th grade. Physical education, usually taken 1 as 9th grader and 1 as a 10th grader, and then there's plenty of physical education electives after that. A fine arts credit, you can check our registration webpage to see what qualifies as fine arts. There's plenty of different options for students to do that. And then they have 22 electives throughout their high school career that they have an opportunity to take. So students will have to have 55 credits in order to graduate from Farmington High School, and within those credits, they need to meet each of those criteria. Again, we will work with students to create their own credit checks, but ultimately, our counselors are the ones that will play a key role in making sure that students are on track to graduate and have met all the credits. Here's a basic outline of the 9th grade courses that students will need to take. You can see in the content area of English, physics, and civics, there's really 2 options. They can take the regular class or the honors class, and I'll talk a little bit more about the honors in a future slide. With math, again, it's pretty prescriptive in terms of which math class they're going to take. If they're coming from Math 8, they're going to take Intermediate Algebra A and B. If they're coming from Accelerated Math 8, they're going to take Geometry A and B. We do have questions from time to time if students can take 2 math classes at once because it's a passion of theirs, or they want to accelerate themselves so that they can take some of our higher level math classes. And the answer is yes, but they can only do it one time. They can only take 2 math classes together when they take Geometry and Algebra 2. Those are the 2 classes that can be paired and taken at the same time. So if a student tries to take another math class at the same time, we will unenroll them from the more rigorous math class, basically as they build upon each other. And we found that the success rate is very high for Geometry and Algebra 2 when students take those together. They have 2 choices for Phi-Ed. You can take PE 9 or Fit for Life. I would encourage you to look at the registration guide and read the course description of each of those to figure out which one matches your student best and which one they feel they're going to get the most out of. And then that leaves them 6 elective classes, and this is where they can really start to have some different experiences in the building. Those might be the band classes, choir or music, might be a foreign language class, might be some of our shop classes, art classes, but I would really suggest that you sit down with your student and talk about what they're interested in and really give them that opportunity to start to really kind of understand what that looks like in our building and maybe build the foundation for that interest as they go through Farmington High School. When it comes to course selection, again, we get lots of questions about, should I take honors, should I take advanced placement and things like that. And so really what it comes down to for us at the high school is really readiness. Not only academic readiness, but really, kind of maturity as a learner. Things that your student has to ask themselves is can they manage their workflow? Can they advocate for themselves? Those sorts of things are important in some of those advanced courses. They do move at a higher pace. They go into a little greater depth, and so a little bit more of the cognitive load is turned over to the student. So it's important that they understand that going in. So again, read that course description, for those honors classes and when they get older in those advanced placement classes, because it does talk about the amount of additional time that students may have to put in outside of the normal school day. And so really that leads us to the next thing when it comes to these types of classes is balance. You have to start to think, what other things am I involved in as a student? Do I have time to dedicate to this outside work? We really feel it's advantageous for every student to try to take one of those classes at some point in time in their high school career, but by no means does that mean that needs to take place in ninth grade. We have some students that aren't quite ready for that as a ninth grader, and that's fine. You can have those opportunities still in 10th grade or 11th grade and 12th grade. Whenever you're ready to challenge yourself at that level or to give yourself that opportunity, we will have classes for you. We don't have any gates that get in the way of that. So really it's about your academic readiness and kind of your maturity as a learner. When those things are right, then we would really say, hey, go ahead and take those honors classes. Then people start to say, well, how many can they take? And again, that is up to the student, and that's really up to the family to take that. Some kids can handle 3 honors classes, no problem. Some kids can handle 1. Some kids can't handle any. Again, that really is about readiness on all those different levels. And I would suggest to ask your current teachers. So if you're thinking about taking, honors English, talk to your English teacher at the middle school. They have a pretty good idea of what that class is like, just like honors physics. Talk to those teachers. They have a good understanding of kind of that whole, readiness aspect on all those ends, and could really give you some really good insight on whether or not you as a student or your student is ready for those classes. And we really suggest to reach out to those teachers that you have currently to give you some more information. So again, we're not going to say that you have to have this grade or this cut to get into an honors class. The big thing is are you really ready to work? Because it is going to be additional work. And we don't mean that to scare anybody off, but we want to know going in the expectations of that work. And like I said, if you're not ready for that as a ninth grader, you might be ready as a 10th grader. Great. We have honors classes and AP classes that you can jump into. Whenever you're ready for that academic challenge, we have the classes that can make that happen for you. It is important for students and families to understand that the choices that they make now during this registration process is what we use to build the master schedule. And it does become very difficult after that schedule is built for students to come back and try to change classes. And actually we have some pretty prescriptive methods of when that takes place. So as you see, students can request a schedule change 1 week before each trimester. Okay, and all of those changes, if they're going to have to happen before the trimester begins. We do not make any changes once the trimester begins. All those requests need to go through your counselor, and they will need parent approval. And we have, like I said, very specific reasons, and you can go into the registration guide on that webpage, and they can talk to you about the reasons that we make those changes. And so that's why we make a big deal out of registration. It takes a significant amount of time to build that master schedule, and we want to build a schedule that gives as many students their choices as it can. And so we have about 2,000 kids in our building. We have over 100 teachers, and there's a lot of moving parts to that. And so we want to build that schedule off the best information possible. So again, take your time, have good conversations with your students, and make sure that to the best of everybody's knowledge is the 15 classes that they're going to register for next year are the ones they're excited about taking. Really be cautious if they start to say, well, I want to take it because so-and-so's taking it, or I'm going to try to get in it with friends and things like that. Those aren't good reasons to take classes. Things of interest, passion, those types of things lead to students being happy with the courses that they're in. So again, really take your time, do a good job as best you can selecting those courses so that we can build a master schedule that really meets the needs of all of our students. Once you've completed that registration worksheet, now you're ready to go into Family Web Access and put those classes in there. So you can go right to Family Web Access, have your student log on. We did this with all of them when we were over at the middle school, so hopefully they remember how to do that. The school counselors at each middle school can help with this to help put those in there. But this is where those classes have to go. Remember, you're only going to put the classes that have X's by them. So those classes that you want to take are the ones that go into Family Web Access, not those 6 circled ones or your alternate classes. The registration window is open now, so kids can go and register, and it closes February 3rd. So again, all those classes need to be in a Family Web Access by February 3rd, and then return those registration worksheets to your middle school teacher by February 3rd as well. Well, thanks for sticking with me with this video, and if you made it to this slide, you made it to the end. Hopefully I was able to provide some helpful information in terms of registering your son or daughter for 9th grade. As I said at the beginning, if you have additional questions or just have things that you're not sure about, there's lots of people that can help with that. Middle school counselors, high school counselors, middle school administrators, high school administrators, we're more than willing to help with that. So if you're running anything in terms of questions about what classes they should take, shouldn't take, if you're running any situations or issues registering on Family Web Access and campus, don't be afraid to reach out to us. We don't want this to be a frustrating process. We actually want it to be an exciting time to start to have conversations with your son or daughter about, hey, you know, what excites you? What are you interested in? Start to have those conversations about what do you want to do when you're done with high school? Because ultimately, the ideas and what they want to do should guide them through the next 4 years of their schooling career. So when they walk out of Farmington High School, they're not only prepared content-wise, but they're also prepared with those intangible skills that'll make them successful no matter what they do when they leave our building. So again, thanks for watching this video, and like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Thanks.